Hello everyone, my name is Tara and I'm very honored to be here. I really like the theme of this convening, and I wanted to share a little bit about my journey, kind of like how Jennifer shared, that it takes a lot of courage to look deeper and beyond what everybody is telling you. So I just wanted to share a little bit about my path and share some of the insights. The biggest insight really was that I'm from India, and I'm very, the Indian culture there is very strong to go towards the careers of engineering and medicine and not sort of think about what do you really care about. I think there's lots of benefits to that, but there are also lots of cons. The biggest thing that gets missed is questioning why you're pursuing a particular career path. So I wanted to sort of talk about my initial sort of first 6 years was spent in aerospace engineering or dreaming about becoming an aerospace engineer, and not completely finding the meaning that makes your life very fulfilled. And then I started Iridescent and I understood what really meaning meant. So I'm from a small town in India. There are about 1 million people even in small towns in India, and this is my house. Ever since I was a little kid, I saw a story about an aerospace engineer. His name was Paul McCready, and he made this amazing bicycle-powered airplane, completely innovative, completely sort of disrupted the current aerospace industry. I was 8 years old when I read that article, and I was like, I want to work in this company, and I want to make amazing airplanes like that. So 10 years later, they released another amazing innovation, which was the first solar-powered airplane. They also made the first most efficient around the world flying airplane. So it kept fueling my passion to say, okay, I'm going to go get a PhD in aerospace, and I'm going to go work for this company. And what my sort of insight always was that I wanted to take the same beautiful grace, efficiency in nature's machines, and to take insights from those and to put them into man-made machines. So my thesis in my PhD program was studying the physics of bird flight, and I just wanted to share this cool video with you. This is from YouTube. It's not my video, but it's really awesome. So this is one of the birds we were testing in the wind tunnel to understand how the airflow flows over an owl's wings, which are very, very silent. There are lots of very intricate physics involved in that. Very cool, right? Okay. So I got into a master's program at Boston University, and the Indian systems and the US systems don't completely align. And so I had a lot of time off, and I spent pretty much like 2 years climbing mountains in India. And at the time that I got the invitation to go to Boston University and get a full scholarship, I also got an invitation to become a full-time mountaineer and lead expeditions. There are not that many women mountaineers in India. And so I was very torn because I love climbing mountains. And then there was this sort of question about, does this career fulfill you? And Paul Graham is a very well-known entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, and he talks about when there's no suspense in something, then there isn't that much meaning. When you know what the outcome will be, then there's not that much excitement in going down a particular path. If you don't know how something is going to turn out, then you have this, your heart beats faster, and there's more struggle, and it's much, much more fulfilling. And so I decided that career path wasn't for me. And during that time, I also got an opportunity to actually be the principal of a small school of like 400 children. And that was a really interesting experience because I was 21 years old and I was leading 50 very senior teachers, and I had no idea about education. And so it was a very thought-provoking experience, but I had always dreamt about being an engineer, so I just put that experience aside and I came to the US. I spent many years just studying birds in wind tunnels, taking a lot of data, and it was intellectually extremely interesting, very satisfying, very complex problems. But I could see a pretty linear trajectory, and the suspense part wasn't there. I knew how things would look. So that was something that really struck me, because ever since I was 8, I had always wanted to be an engineer. And so at this point, when I did become one, I was like, maybe this is not what everybody sort of tells you about. And then I did get to work at the company that I'd always dreamt about working at, and they shifted their emphasis from being very environmentally innovative, and they actually started becoming like the main manufacturer of the drones. And because it was a very small company, I actually got to work on this aircraft, and it was again a very, very fulfilling experience, but not something that I would want to dedicate my life to, because it's not something that directly helps someone. And again, this was something, when you actually get into a particular career, you begin to see all the nuances and see if they align with your values. And then, so that was a very, very sort of big moment for me to look back at roughly 20 years of striving for a particular goal, and then realizing that that goal was not what I wanted to do. And then looking very deeply at all the experiences that I had, I realized that what really provides meaning is helping someone. And using all my skills, my training, I decided that I had a particular path and particular impact and value that I could provide to the world. And so I started Iridescent. And Iridescent is essentially a nonprofit that trains engineers and scientists to share their passion with underprivileged children all over the world. And the goal is that it's not just inspiring children, but it's also preparing them to be awesome innovators. So I have a team of 25 people. They're absolutely incredible. I have scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, master educators, but it's a small team. And we're constantly thinking about how can we maximize impact to reach even more children. And there's a lot of suspense. I don't know how things are going to work out. I mean, the path is very hard, and every day is a tremendous struggle, but there's tremendous meaning as well. So the reason why things are hard compared to sort of engineering problems is because social problems and people are messy. They're unpredictable, they don't follow very sort of rigid models, and like I said, I have no ability to predict how things will turn out. So every day is new and very interesting. So I talked about how we train engineers, but then we also train parents and teachers to use the curriculum. So we really build deep infrastructures into communities so that we use education to come out of poverty. So just a little bit about where we are. So we've been working in the field for 7 years. We've reached roughly 22,000 participants. And our goal is to engage 200,000 children across over the next 10 years. We've been funded by a lot of different research grants, and the biggest thing has been that most of the children who go through our programs become more persistent. They are more, they're okay with saying that I failed, let me try again. Being able to admit failure is a very big thing, because in school, failure is not something that is looked upon very favorably, but in the real world, you fail almost every day. And so there's a big disconnect between how you are taught and trained to how you will face your daily work life. And that's what we want children to grow up with this kind of a specific tool set. And one of our programs, we teach girls how to program mobile apps to solve problems in their community and launch startups. And that program is the world's largest technology education program. We have 5,000 girls in 45 different countries. We have girls in the slums of Mumbai learning how to code apps to solve the problem to clean water. We have an amazing team in Brazil that actually just came back from meeting. They made an app to preserve the rainforest and to have individuals donate money to particular trees. Just very, very interesting apps. We have a big group of girls in the Middle East fighting issues of early marriage, women's security issues. So just a very, very interesting example of how education can transform and empower communities. And then we also have a lot of emphasis on research and really figuring out, are we doing the right thing? This takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of courage, because many times the data that comes back is not what you want to see. But so you have to have tremendous honesty in saying, okay, this is what the data is telling me, and this is how I need to go back and change what I was doing. People hate to change things. So I constantly have to sort of push my team to say, look, the data is not telling us that this is working, so we have to fix it. So 70% of the students that go through our Technovation program actually go on to pursue computer science in high school or university. This number is literally 4 times greater than the current average of girls going into computer science. And just last week, one of our girls was invited to the White House Science Fair, and she's right there, right behind President Obama as he was talking and giving his address to the country. So this was something so empowering, because she is a girl from the South Bronx, one of the poorest neighborhoods that you could ever imagine, and she spent roughly 4 years with us learning how to solve complex engineering problems, and she created a pretty interesting cardboard robot that actually perceives human emotions. And so that project got recognized, and it was an amazing, and now she's going and becoming an engineer, and she's going to go solve some very complex problems. And so what makes it all meaningful? Definitely the suspense part, but then the other part is the ownership part. I think I could never imagine myself working for someone else, because not having the control and the ambition to solve some very big complex problems. So I think the entrepreneurship aspect is a very, very big part of meaning. And then finally, it is about helping someone. All the advice that I got when I was a child and when I was a young adult was, do something that you're passionate about. It's very you-focused. And especially in the United States, everything is very individualized or individualistic and very focused on, are you happy? Are you successful? Are you sort of rich or whatever? Do you have all? But what I've discovered is all the people that come to us to volunteer realize that all of these things don't matter in the end. What matters is, why are you here on Earth, and how are you helping improve the state of the world? So I just wanted to end with a short video that sort of talks about the spirit of our program.
I am not a statistic. I am not a Barbie girl. I am not afraid to fail.
The air quality in certain areas.
I am a steward of my community.
Proposing that we create an app to help the community.
I am hope for my generation. I am a role model. I am guided by my aspirations. I am driven by my imperfections. I am defined by my perseverance. I will innovate. I will lead. I will inspire. What will you do?